Have you tried buying a car recently? If you have, you've probably noticed something alarming. Prices are through the roof. It's not just your imagination. The average price for a new car in America has skyrocketed, now hovering around $50,000. That's a nearly 30% increase in just the last 5 years. So, what on earth is going on? Why are cars, once a symbol of freedom and accessibility, becoming a luxury item for so many? Today, we're diving deep into the forces driving up car prices, from the vehicles we're choosing to buy to the global pressures reshaping the entire industry. This isn't just about sticker shock. It's about a fundamental shift in our relationship with the automobile. Let's start by looking at what we're actually buying. Walk onto any dealership lot, and you'll be swamped by a sea of SUVs and trucks. The classic affordable sedan? It's becoming an endangered species. Automakers have made a calculated decision to phase them out. Why? The answer is simple: profit. Large vehicles like SUVs and pickup trucks command much higher prices and, more importantly, much higher profit margins. For example, a Ford F-150, America's best-selling vehicle, can easily sell for over $60,000 with luxury trims pushing into the $80,000 or $90,000 range. Compare that to a Ford Focus, which they discontinued in the US. It was a perfectly good car, but it just didn't make them enough money. This isn't a secret strategy. It's a very public one. Executives from major car companies have openly stated they are focusing on high-margin vehicles. They've essentially decided to sell fewer cars at higher prices rather than more cars at lower prices. This business model works great for their bottom line, but it leaves a massive gap in the market for budget-conscious buyers. The entry-level car, the one you could buy for under $20,000, has all but vanished. This trend has pushed the average price up, not just because individual cars are more expensive, but because the entire mix of available cars has shifted towards the pricier end of the spectrum. We are being steered, quite literally, into more expensive purchases. But it's not just the type of car. It's what's inside them. Modern cars are packed with technology. Massive touchscreens, advanced driver assistance systems, dozens of sensors, cameras, and complex software. Each of these features adds to the final cost. While things like automatic emergency braking and blind spot monitoring are fantastic safety innovations, they also add thousands of dollars to the manufacturing cost. This techflation is a huge driver of price increases. Think about the semiconductor shortage we experienced a few years ago. It brought entire production lines to a halt. That's because a single car can contain over 1,000 microchips. This reliance on sophisticated electronics makes the automotive supply chain more complex and vulnerable to disruption, and every bit of that complexity and cost eventually gets passed on to you, the consumer. And let's not forget the push towards electric vehicles. While EVs are crucial for a sustainable future, their current high cost is a major factor in the market. The batteries, which are the most expensive component of an EV, rely on raw materials like lithium and cobalt, whose prices can be volatile. Government incentives and tax credits help to bring the price down for consumers. But the initial sticker price for most EVs is still well above their gasoline-powered counterparts. As automakers invest billions in developing new EV platforms and retooling their factories, those massive costs are being factored into the price of every vehicle they sell, both electric and gasoline. This transition period is expensive, and for now it's contributing to the overall price hike across the board. So we have automakers focusing on luxury SUVs, cars loaded with expensive tech, and a costly transition to EVs. That's the picture inside the United States. But now we need to look outside our borders, because a massive storm is brewing on the global stage, and it's centered in China. For decades, the global auto industry has been dominated by American, Japanese, and German companies. That era is coming to an end. China is now the world's largest car market, and more importantly, the world's largest producer of electric vehicles. Companies you might not have even heard of, like BYD, are producing EVs at a scale and price point that is sending shockwaves through the industry. BYD, which stands for Build Your Dreams, recently overtook Tesla as the world's top seller of EVs. And they did it by offering a wide range of models, including a small EV called the Seagull that sells for around $11,000 in China. Let that sink in. $11,000. That's a price point that American and European automakers simply cannot compete with right now. How are they doing it? First, They have a massive domestic market that allows for incredible economies of scale. Second, and this is a key advantage, Chinese companies have a stranglehold on the battery supply chain. From mining the raw materials to manufacturing the finished battery packs, they control nearly every step of the process. This vertical integration gives them a massive cost advantage that Western automakers are scrambling to catch up to. Right now, these ultra-affordable Chinese EVs aren't really sold in the United States due to high tariffs. There's a 27.5% tariff on Chinese-made cars, a barrier that effectively keeps them out of the market. But that might not last forever. Chinese automakers are getting creative. They're looking at building factories in Mexico, which could potentially allow them to bypass those tariffs by leveraging North American trade agreements. This has set off alarm bells in Detroit and Washington, D.C. The CEO of Ford has called the Chinese EV makers his biggest competitors, and the Alliance for American Manufacturing has warned of an extinction-level event for the U.S. auto industry if these cars are allowed to flood the market. This presents a huge dilemma. On one hand, the competition could be fantastic for consumers. The arrival of an $11,000 AV would force domestic automakers to drastically lower their prices and start producing affordable cars again. It could single-handedly solve the affordability crisis we're facing. But on the other hand, it could decimate the American auto industry, leading to job losses and a reliance on a foreign power for our transportation needs. This is the tightrope that policymakers are walking. Do they protect the domestic industry with tariffs, which keeps car prices high for consumers? Or do they allow open competition, which could lower prices but potentially gut a cornerstone of the American economy? There's no easy answer here. The rising cost of cars is a complex problem with many interconnected causes. The shift to profitable but expensive SUVs, the increasing technological complexity of our vehicles, and the costly transition to electric power have all conspired to push prices to record highs. And now, the looming threat of hyper-competitive Chinese EVs adds a whole new layer of urgency and uncertainty. What we're witnessing is a transformation of the auto industry on a scale we haven't seen in a century. The car is no longer just a simple machine. It's a sophisticated, expensive piece of technology at the center of a global economic and geopolitical battle. For the average American just trying to buy a reliable and affordable car, the road ahead looks bumpy and uncertain. The dream of affordable mobility is at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the next few years will determine whether that dream survives. Thanks for watching. What do you think is the biggest reason for high car prices? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this analysis interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world. See you next time.